the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next, we'll do call to order roll call, starting on my right.
Councilperson Brett Meyer.
Councilperson Dick Updegraff.
Mayor Jimmy John King.
Councilperson Craig Anderson.
Councilperson Jeremiah Olgen.
I'd also like to introduce, we have a Boy Scout, David Waters, in our midst tonight, keeping an eye on us. He's working on a citizenship in the community merit badge.
Looks like he might be a Tiger basketball player as well. I like that. Future mayor.
We'll look for approval of tonight's agenda.
Make a motion to approve.
Second.
Nothing formal to add, just we'll have a couple spots where we got some committee meetings we're just gonna need you to set dates for, so, and a workshop.
Figures, I see this 31-page agenda, I get super excited. Bill's gotta come in and add stuff.
You don't have
No,
to do that.
no.
We got a motion, just a
Yeah,
second.
just
All in favor, approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. That'll take us to the approval of the regular meeting minutes of February 13th, 2018. Any additions or questions on that?
Move to approve.
We got a motion to approve. Do we have a second?
Second.
I will just quickly say in discussion that I'm impressed that Jeremiah stepped up and took care of the adjournment for me.
Yes, he did.
I was happy to see that when I read that earlier today.
He's been
Way
waiting
to
for
go.
that opportunity for quite a while.
Seniority is building.
Yeah, there you go.
We got a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. That takes us to finance and budget, accounts payable. We also have the additional accounts payable in there. If you have any questions on any of them, we can ask Finance Director Neubauer. With no questions or concerns, I'd look for a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. That'll take us on to general business, and the first item tonight under general business is a resolution awarding the contract for the 2018 CIP. Bids were opened on Thursday, February 22nd, 2018 at 10 a.m., and the city engineer will tabulate the bid results, which she's already done, and present at the city council meeting for council consideration. Jenna?
All right. Just waiting for it to get open here. All right, we did bid our project. We had a base bid and an alternate one. The alternate was to include replacing the water main through the church parking lot area and reconnecting their service. It'd be increasing the 4-inch up to an 8-inch, and just taking care of that trenchlessly since the church has already restarted paving. So base bid was, the apparent low bidder is Edge Contracting, $1,458,896.50. And their alternate bid was $24,593.85. 42,593.85. That did come in under the
I got
engineer's.
confused with that. What was the alternate? Can you do the alternate bid again?
The
Sorry.
alternate $42,593.85.
Okay. All right.
Bringing a total bid to $1,501,490.35. That did come in under the estimate, with contingency and engineering and all of the ELA costs that we are predicting. The total project will come in under budget, being just over $2 million.
Just over two.
Just open,
The feasibility study, that one, my figures that I used, The feasibility study showed that we thought it was gonna be $2,048,092. When I take 30% for the contingency and so forth, like she said, on the bid price, which would include the alternate, I have $1,951,937, just a little bit, just a little bit more. So we're going to be under budget by about $90,000, and that includes that we can do the parking lot, the water main in the parking lot. So if we hadn't had that alternate, we would have come in about $140,000 under budget.
The recommendation, the bids did tabulate out correctly, would be to go with the low bidder of Edge Contracting.
Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, how many bids did we get?
Top three were
We
within
had
like
six.
$20,000 of each other.
They ranged,
Here, she's-
ranging up to, I'll just give you total bid, but up to just over 2 million.
That was the high.
There were 3 bids. The 2 lowest bidders were within $2,400.
The 2 lowest were?
The
Yeah.
2 lowest were
And the third place
So
was.
how many people, or how many companies responded?
6.
1 through 5 actually wasn't that terrible of a spread in there at
1
all.
through 5 was not, yeah, there was $96,000 between the low 5. There was just one bid that came in really high.
So they needed to work. Apparently.
Well, getting in early like
Did we
that.
work with Edge last year?
Apparently, they all wanted to come to Stewartville.
So where's this at from?
Two came from.
Edge, it's from
Well,
Elgin.
there's out of Elgin, Minnesota. She's checking on
Yep, they're from Elgin. A few of the guys in my office have worked with them before. They're bonded and they are a reputable contractor.
it. They have the capability to handle this
They
size
have the
project.
capability, yep.
So a few of your guys have worked with them, what was their comments?
We can talk later.
Do we have to make a decision then on this one?
If we wanna,
Do we approve a
Based on-
contractor
it's
after
based
this or
on
not?
approval.
yeah.
So it's next.
Right,
Yeah.
it all
Approve or
depends
deny.
on
Well,
what
first,
crews
then we
you
need to
get.
hear it. We need to know.
Well, I've heard some pros and cons in the street, and
a couple of counselors would like to, if you have something, they would like to kind of know to make a decision with Jennifer.
Well, it's like I don't automatically want to go with the lowest bidder just because it's the lowest bidder. I mean, if I hear,
Right.
if there's somebody that's close that we've worked with that's been really successful, that's important.
So, I guess some things I were told, depending on who you get on site, there's one really, really good guy who can direct the crews and is good to work with, and one that's not so good to work with. But you
So
don't
which
have
one are we
control
gonna
over who
get
you
then?
get.
which one are we gonna get?
Take
We
a
don't
guess.
know. We don't have control over that.
That's basically like any contractor we deal with, though, they have different crews, and depending on what crew comes to
Exactly.
town is what you get.
So in other words, you gotta have a good inspector on the job.
Either that or I need to be down here more, I don't know.
Jana, do you know if from the talk in the office, have they, in the last year or two, handled any projects approximately this size in our communities around our area? Or are they more of a like, have they handled like, Zumbrota a lot of times does a block at a time is all they do.
The last project that I know we worked with them on was in Lake City. And it was not as big as this, but it was a street reconstruct in a residential area.
And they pretty well came in on schedule and things were done correctly.
Things were done correctly, not necessarily on schedule.
Luckily, we have experience with that with the wastewater treatment facility.
That's where the complaints start coming though, when they're off schedule. Yeah.
Well, some of that is weather related sometimes too.
Well, so obviously you've looked at all this. I guess my big thing is I look at it as a totality of circumstances, or like a total package deal. So it's not automatically low bidder, although that's obviously intriguing to me. Are we, I mean, is there one company that might be close that stands out above the others? Are we comfortable with this? Obviously, I know you're not gonna answer that, I get that, you can't answer.
We've worked with a couple of the other ones and, that were close on this. Since I've been here, we've worked with them and
So your second contractor is A1 Excavating. I do
every
not
one of
have
them
experience.
had problems.
You don't have experience with them?
Well, yeah,
Okay.
that's my feeling on it. They've had their problems, but, you know, that's what I'm trying to, and I don't know what the rest of the council, I'm just trying to eliminate it. I see too many streets after we get them done, you know, that they're, you know, roller coasters.
Some of that has to do with the engineer we have on site and stuff like that. I've never worked with this company. I haven't found anybody that I know of closely that's worked with them yet, but I have total confidence in the engineer that we have in town, that she does keep everybody pretty well reined in and they have to do what they have to do. I've seen several contractors become quite irate. To the point of I'll never work in this town again, but they always come back. So I don't know what to tell you guys. I haven't worked with them, so I can't say, but the last 2 years we've done stuff, we've worked with contractors that we've never worked with either.
True.
Jenna, could you tell me who the other contractors were that bid on this?
Yeah, your low bid was Edge Contracting. Second was A1 Excavating out of Bloomer, Wisconsin. Third was BCM Construction out of Faribault. Fourth was Hazelton Construction out of Faribault. Fifth was Elcor Construction out of Rochester. And sixth was McHugh Excavating and Plumbing out of Onalaska.
The second place one, I think, is bid on every street project in the 10 years I've been here.
Yep,
I never got one yet.
they're the ones from Blooming,
Yep.
Bloomer, Wisconsin.
Mm-hmm.
They got close this time.
They
No
did.
backer backers in our town.
For
Sorry
background,
about that. Sorry, Mark.
BCM did,
Back by the fourth care center, 6th, Meadow Park, the street into Meadow Park
and Hazelton, their last project that they did, well, they
was out by.
did out by the school, and they also did your 2015 project. So those are,
I feel like you hit the nail on the head. On part of every company that comes in, you have the possibility of one cruddy foreman or one some. I mean, it's just that's how it's going to go. So it's really no pressure. It's on your shoulders to make sure that it gets done right. So we might just have to trust that. I don't think that's a big risk.
And one of the things, as Jenna pointed out, we do look for how it ended correctly. I mean, that's the bottom line of what we want. Obviously, one of our requirements is the bond, which they did provide, which gives us some recourse to have someone else step in if we just were to run into total troubles. And then in Minnesota, unfortunately, if you don't go with the lowest bidder, you can still pick who you want, but you've got to come up with such a huge list of reasonings, and they have to be pretty substantial, otherwise you are susceptible to liabilities. So it's kind of one of those, what do we weigh out as the good features?
Well, I think regardless, and I get what you're saying on that,
Yeah.
but if we didn't at least ask the questions on that,
Oh,
we'd be
totally.
doing a total
Yeah.
disservice to everybody paying taxes.
Well, and I think what we'll do, Jen and I and Sean, we'll pass this on when we start our pre-con meetings, that the council is watching this, and they had some concerns, and
Well,
Yeah.
some of
So
these
that-
newer local companies, they do try a little harder to get their foot in the door because they're fighting the big boys all the time and they want to do the best they can if they can. I know that.
So we're looking for a motion to approve.
Approve or deny resolution receiving bids and awarding contracts for 2018 capital improvement
I
projects.
will make the
Just out of
motion.
curiosity,
You also-
what's the fine per day that the city imposes for going over, if they go over?
I can look that up, I believe I put $1,500 per day.
1,500 per day? So right there,
Just under your hourly salary.
that makes up a lot too.
Yeah.
Well, it depends on how many rain days they got or this or that.
No, I understand.
They always fight that, you know, till,
1,500, Jen?
looking it up, but
That's when you get a lot of complaints is when they start going over.
Oh, I totally agree with that. I mean, the biggest complaints are can't get into your driveway. It's a day over schedule, and the grass they planted in my yard, the sod's brown. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
That's right. The only reason it's brown, you got to put the green side up.
good point. I'll make a motion. The company was called Edge. Is that correct?
yep. And you need to also decide if you're accepting the alternate as well as the base
You want
bid.
that as a separate, or can that be on the same?
You could combine them, but
All right, be approved the deny resolution.
I would. Yeah.
Receive
My
bids
motion. I would
for
like to do. I would like to approve both. Or
the base
both.
and the
Yeah,
alternate.
correct. Is that clear enough, or it was pretty bad?
That's fine.
and just to yes, it is $1,500 per day.
I'll second that motion.
Dick seconds it.
Say, Jenna, the only thing I'd like to say, and I'm not trying to pat myself on the back, but I've been in that situation before where I've had contractors that are hard to work with and try to get away with everything they can. But all you do is tell them, hey, you bid the job, you read the specs. It's your job to do a good job. And so many times, and I shouldn't say so many times, there's times that I drive down the street and I say, there's something missing here because this is not supposed to be a roller coaster street. We had that over in Luella.
That's what we're fixing this time, Dick.
Yeah, I know, when we got it on 20th Street. Yeah.
I think Luella was put in when you were on the council the first time, wasn't it?
I think I got it with you. That's why I know what's going
I'd
on.
be surprised.
And we have a motion and a second. Any other comments or concerns to award the base bid and the alternate to Edge Contracting? Bill?
Just, we have tried to make that liquidated damage a little more commensurate with the project as one of our lessons learned from the wastewater treatment plants.
Right. Thank you. Motion and a second's been made. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That carries. Thank you. Next, under general business, codification of ordinances, resolution approving that. The 8th revision and codification of ordinances has been completed. These include ordinances that have been adopted since 2015. The codification changes includes Chapter 2, Administration and Operations, Chapter 4, Alcoholic Beverages, Chapter 5, Animals, Chapter 6, Nuisances. I'm not going to say that. Chapter 7, Traffic and Vehicles, Chapter 13, Zoning, and Appendix B, Franchises. No, I won't. Approval of ordinance, this is council action requested. Approval of ordinance 2018-1, an ordinance adopting a revision and codification of ordinances to be known as the Stewartville City Code. Any questions or concerns on this?
This is an ordinance, which is an ordinance to modify the ordinance.
Yep.
Updating the changes. Is that like on a rotation of
I do
every
that
3 years, or is it just when you realize?
No, every couple of years we do it. And then they go through and they look at our whole big book and make sure that everything lines
So
up.
this is the
with it.
only the 8th revision. So there apparently was probably a time that it went like 60 years without.
Oh, yeah,
Oh, yeah.
a long time. And when we did that first revision, it was just weeks of reviews.
So without doing this, then if it goes 60 years, then the ordinances that are actually in effect is just not written down
In one.
in one place.
Well, in case somebody's got a copy from 2002 and they come in and says, it says right here,
Right.
this says, this is the official book right here, sorry. You know.
Some of these have to line up with state ordinances and stuff too, don't they?
And
Lord
that
knows
does
what
bring
changed.
up a good question right there of why we're now trying to put revised dates in here. Because as you know, you can do a search on the internet and exactly what you said, you can get out the language that Stewartville might have had in such and such year and people will say, hey, that was the ordinance.
I totally agree with that. If when we
Yeah.
make changes, we should have the revised date in there for sure.
All right. Any other questions or concerns? We'd look for a motion for approval then.
I'll move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Opposed? That also carries. That takes us out of general business to the mayor's, staff, and consultant reports already. Mayor's report tonight, the city would like to send their sympathy out to the families of Edna Bernard, Ivadine Eisensee, Alvina Glenn, Bill Lamers, Marita Michaels, Jerry Glenn, Milo Gatsky, Garrett Lovrink, and Marjorie Pearson. Stewartville Lions will be sponsoring Dad's Belgian Waffle Breakfast on March 11th. That's coming right up. Get your tickets from any Lion. Courtney McGill is a young lady who lives in Racine. She's just turned 21 years old and she was just diagnosed with stage 4 liver cancer. They're going to have a benefit, her family's having a benefit this coming Saturday, March 3rd at the Eagles Club in Rochester. We got a lot of great donations. Everyone's welcome. Go on up. They'll have food and silent live auction, and you can meet this young lady. She's quite a gal. She's quite a fighter. American Legion Auxiliary will be serving an egg bake breakfast this Sunday, March 4th, 9 to noon. The proceeds are going to benefit the 8th grade Washington, D.C. trip. So if you get a chance, head out for that. Firearm safety training is going to start in March. Check the Stewartville Star for all the information. And don't forget, AARP provides residents from low to moderate income families. They can get free help filling out their tax returns. Contact 533-4787 for more information. That's all I really have, but I'd like to once again thank David for being here tonight too. I hope he learned a lot of important stuff for this badge years. That'll take us on to city administrator report.
Reports in your packet, and then just to highlight, one of the meetings coming up would be our workshop on March 16th, so we'll obviously post that. We've come up with at least, I think, about a half dozen items from staff perspective that we'll try to review and go over. But you all are open to throw in or send in suggestions that you want to visit with amongst all of us as well. So feel comfortable doing that, or if you got a citizen project or idea for our future, bring that with you as well.
All right.
And then at your desk tonight, there was a county invite as they review things, basically Olmsted County-wise. So they're inviting the township representatives and the city representatives. That's at the end of March. So if that works out and you're interested in attending, you are free to attend. And I believe that, and then Mayor and I will be attending, because he sits on the EDA, Journey to Growth meeting Thursday. So those are open to all of you council members when they come up throughout the year. So if any of you want to attend, just let us know.
This one's in Chatfield this time.
Usually the EDA people help fill it out. So, yep. And that should do her.
All right. Any questions or concerns for the administrator? All right. Thanks, Bill. Finance Director Barb, you got a report?
Just a reminder that our monthly finance meeting is on March 7th at 3 o'clock, and I will need to have you come to that one if possible. Yeah.
Seems like we meet all the time now.
Okay.
I'm just
And
kidding.
then I talked to the Public Works Committee, and again, you've agreed to have a meeting on March 13th at 6 o'clock before the next council meeting. And we'll be discussing proposed equipment purchases for 2018. And that's it. Audit starts in a week.
Jesus. Any questions for Finance Director? Nobody wants to know how her vacation was or anything?
She said it was good.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Barb.
She said she only remembered one day, so I didn't want to get it.
Yeah, the day she got home.
The sun was out.
No public works director. Bill, do you have anything to fill in for him?
Yep, Sean gave me just a couple items. He wanted you to all know they are working on follow-up cleaning streets, and especially now with catch basins, curb and gutter for drainage situations. Obviously, as the next several weeks go by and we get freeze thaws, we'll be looking into that to try to get the drainage to go. And then there's a couple areas we've been told of, when I say flooding, puddling type things and unique to neighborhoods, so we'll be keeping an eye on those. And I think that should do her.
Any questions or anything in Sean's notes there you want to ask Bill? All right.
Maybe just one quick thing. You might have got calls on the one snow emergency. We base a lot of our call out on the forecast, and it was for 2 to 4 inches. And so a couple guys did come in, but then it was only 1 inch, so they just started doing some little miscellaneous cleanup and sanding and salting for the one. Of course, the second one we did do the cleanup. So
What do you say?
In case people wonder why.
Complaining that we had a snow emergency, you mean, or what?
we actually called a formal one because all the forecasts we were getting, and they try to catch or check a
Well,
couple.
even on that
different
one
reports.
Saturday, for the
Yeah.
longest time, they were saying 5 to 8. And it
Yeah.
turned out to be nothing. I mean, so
Yeah.
that's
So
wasted phone
we
call.
just figure it's better to be safe than sorry.
For the fact that in the one they got 65 tickets, the next one they got 35 tickets.
Such is life. You know, it is what it is.
That's what the calls were being about.
All right, fair enough.
Then that email you sent out to everybody today, that was rectified this afternoon.
Yep, that individual came in to visit with us and got his concerns recognized. So
All right, that'll take us on to city engineers report. Jenna, you got anything else?
Well, I presented bids, so now we'll just go forward with contracts. So that's about all I have for you.
All right, any questions for the engineer? All right, thank you. Pat, library director's report?
Yes, my report is in your packet, and the month of February has been very busy for the library, and as you can see under our programs and meetings, we did a lot of different projects, and we had 2 special ones. We had an author, Peggy Hale, who came and spoke about a book she's written, and Bruce Wagner came and talked about the national parks, and he and his wife have visited all, I guess, 49 of them. So it was very interesting. Because they visited all of these, they got this certification award that they've been to all the parks. It was a very interesting program, and people really enjoyed it. Our library website has been redesigned, and it's up now, and there's still things that have to be put into it, but it's a live site, so you can use it. And we're going to be having, this is a project we've been talking about for a long time. The Stewartville Star, we hold the entire collection starting from 1898. So from 1898 through 2009, it was all on microfilm. But after that year, the Minnesota Historical Society, which had been doing the microfilming, said they were no longer going to be doing it for anybody. And so for several years, we were like, well, how are we going to find somebody to do this? And so we tried again with the Minnesota Historical Society several months ago, and they gave us the name of a place in La Crosse that does this work because they do the History Center's work. So we called them and they said, sure. So Debbie took down the bound copies from 2009 through 2017. Those are down at the bindery to be microfilmed, and it'll be several months yet before they come back. And then from that point on, every year we will just send to them the unbound copies of the newspaper so that we can get one every year. And we were very fortunate. We had a very generous patron who donated some money to us, and we're using that donation to pay for this project.
Cool.
Good.
And I think that pretty much covers our our month. It's been, like I said, it's a short month, but very, very busy. Lots of stuff going on.
Is that normal just because February sucks so bad in Minnesota, pretty much? Is February busy though, for real, normally?
Is it what?
Is it normally a busy month?
Yeah, it is. And we decided several years ago that this would be a good month to do a lot of going out and talking to kids about libraries, why they're important. And then we also added a new thing this year. We decided that let's go out, let's do something with in-home daycare providers. And so Debbie wrote a grant we had contacted a woman about going out and doing Zumba and music at the in-home daycare providers. Everybody loved it, and it's like, when are you going to do it again?
All right. Great. Any other questions for Pat?
When is the next teddy bear sleepover?
It'll be next year. We only do it once a year.
You interested?
Actually, it was kind of fun to see the pictures that they
Yeah.
came up with.
It's an interesting evening because after the library closes at 5 o'clock and we've got like 25 teddy bears and other assorted stuffed animals, they all have to have their tags on them to say who it belongs to. And the staff came up with 6 different scenarios, so we have them listening to a story and eating, and there's one where we've got them all tucked in, and we had somebody make some special blankets, so each animal got their own special blanket to take home.
Wonderful. All right. Thank you, Pat.
Thank you.
No fire chief report tonight, so that'll take us on to committee, commission, board reports. Chamber of Commerce, you got the e-newsletter in there. Does anybody have any other, Bill, you got anything you need to add to that or anything? Or
On which one?
Chamber of Commerce, did they give you anything or?
Not this
Okay,
particular
fine.
meeting.
EDA, HRA,
I think most of our EDA stuff was actually in his report. There's a lot of
Yeah, there was
actions
quite a
we
few
did.
things that we just thought we'd bring all of you back up to speed on, things they're all working on.
all right. Finance, we meet the 7th. Library,
Nothing.
nothing yet. Park board,
No report.
personnel,
Yep. Can you two meet either before or after your finance meeting? Sean and I got one item for you, so.
I think so.
Yep.
I don't have a calendar in front of me. I just got to check it when I get
Yeah,
it.
we'll send you a reminder, but
planning and zoning. We got some minutes in there. Anything else?
Nope.
Everything's going good. When's your next one, do you know?
March
6.
6th.
All right, good. Public safety, no Mike tonight. Anything else we need to know from anyone on public safety?
fair number of citations were issued for those snow emergencies.
Yeah, they were. Public works, you guys are having a meeting coming up.
Yep.
ROCOG,
Minutes in your packet, and the only thing, and we'll touch on it a little bit more at the workshop, but one of the things ROCOG's gearing up for is if our city wants to keep that park and ride project in our future sites, and then start building up for that, so we're planning for it. It's a few years out, but we'll talk about it more then, so. And that'd be out at Bear Cave Park, or
are they
proposed to be.
offering,
Pardon?
is the county, Rochester, Olmsted County Council's offering something for park and ride?
That'll have to be worked on. We're gonna try to tap into whatever funding we can to help offset our costs. but
Because they could blacktop 15th Avenue, we'd let them park on one side then out
Same
there.
time, and we'll just have one big long park ride.
Do 180. Nothing. No transit advisory committee tonight. I was expecting a report on that. Communications, nothing in the packet. Takes us to our open mic. City Council welcomes and encourages participation from community members. Please keep in mind that your comments must be pertinent to city business and must adhere to the data privacy rules, which means no employee's name may be used. Please do not expect action from this council this evening regarding your concerns. We also request your comments be limited to 4 minutes. Speakers will be recognized only once. At this time, we would ask that anyone who would like to address the city council to please step up to the podium and state your name and address.
Got a speech in you
David,
tonight
would
at
you
all?
like to say anything?
No speech?
Nothing?
That'll be a different match.
Oh, okay. All right.
One for that team.
Public speaking bit.
All right, and no one wants to use the open mic, that takes us to the last motion of the evening.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, do we have a second? We have a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We're adjourned.